Now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has won the 8 local government chairmanship positions in the Saturday council polls in Bayelsa State. The party also won all the legislative seats in the 105 wards across the state. The main opposition, All Progressives Congress APC and Labour Party, shunned the exercise, which was conducted by the Bayelsa State Independent Electoral Commission, BYSIEC. It was the first local government elections to be held under the Senator Dayo-led administration. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to discuss the conduct of local government elections by states, why the ruling party's candidates are always winning, and how to ensure a level playing field for all candidates, irrespective of party affiliation. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Warm welcome to the program.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here, Suja.
Right. Now, this is a complex issue. How do we move forward from what seems to be a system of patronage networks that are built through the local government areas?
Well, what I have seen, and what I will say is that there is the local government elections have become elections in one party syndrome. It's a sort of one party syndrome. Well, the incumbency factor is there. But then, in this particular one, the other party shunned the election. So actually, there was no election. There was a selection. Either they willfully shunned it, or they were forced by circumstances. That is no longer a competition. But you see, on the surface, theoretically, you can say maybe the ruling party, the dominant party is doing very well. That is why it is being rewarded by taking all the seats in the local government election. But we all know better that that is not the situation. It is the incumbency factor and the fact that people cling to office, they don't want to lose power. Power is sweet. It happens all over the place, except in this particular instance. There is the local government election is coming up in Oyo State. The interview, Oyo State is in the grip of PDP, even though they went with APC in the presidential election. Now, they interviewed a leader of APC, and the only condition he gave, he said, look, they are ready to compete, and that they are ready to claim the seats back from PDP, even though Femi Makinde is the governor. He said the governor has said that he doesn't care about local governments. But he said he collects funds for local government. Anyway, I should have told them at the center so that they can distribute the money directly. But one point he made is this, that he has obtained a promise from the Oyo State local INEC body that they will use beavers. That once they use beavers, he's confident they will win. You get me? Later he was asked, he said, how can you be confident you win? Because people are annoyed with the Tinubu administration, which happens to be your own administration. He said, no, people are not annoyed, they are hopeful. But then, you see, if somebody in a state like that can have confidence, I will expect others not to give up. In other states, where the party of the governor is always winning the local government elections. But then, you see, that's how it has to be, given the reality of our constitutional arrangement on local government management. You see, the idea of local government is to get the creation of local government, is to get development down to the grassroots so that people can manage from the grassroots. But people have said that even INEC should conduct the local government elections. That would be the opposite of decentralization we have been talking about. But see, since INEC itself has not recovered from the last election, I don't know how it can, but let's leave INEC out of it. Let's talk of the local INEC in the states. They make competition impossible, literally. That is what happened in Bayelsa. Politics is about competition, about who gets what, when, and how. Or when you place a bar, or now people can enter the competition, it is no longer democracy. So it's a dangerous development. And that is why people develop apathy, disinterestedness in the entire political system. And then, see, I've just said this before, and some of my friends have threatened me. You see, politics, those who are, okay, there's a political class in Nigeria. If you don't have time to join them, you have to live with them. That's where people like us belong. But you see, they must try to exercise some inclusiveness. You see, I've equated them with the colonial masters before, and some people did not like that. I've been cautioned against that. But it has to be said. The political class should open up and accommodate those who want to perform. If the election in local government is based on issues, not on parties, many people will come out. You see, there are some people who are public-spirited, I use that word again, who want to do salutary things in society. And people know they have the means, they have the time. But if they don't go to meetings, or if they go to meetings, political meetings, local government, state, and they argue too much with the leadership, they won't even know the venue of the next meeting. That's the end of the matter. And they lose interest. That's exclusiveness. It is not on. The political class should not see themselves as political masters. That is when people get disenchanted with democracy and don't have confidence in their leadership. So, the local government elections are meant to be a competition for all bidders on issues, not on parties. But as it is, that is how it is. And then, of course, nobody wants to commit political suicide by losing power just on the face of it. I understand that sometime in Kaduna, the local government, some people want in some areas. But then you see, it is not impossible that this tenacity of office can be broken. See the last election, even in Lagos, the last presidential election. Obi scored more than Tinubu in Lagos, and that jolted a lot of people out of their complacency. Get me? And it used to be like that before. In Lagos State, if you go to Surulere, you see many streets with Igbo names. Because local government elections then, that area was always won by NCNC. That's Nnamdi Azikiwe's party. Even on Lagos Island there, they win elections here. Before we started this state creation and proliferation of states that can not take care of their people, and see, ethnicity came in, tribalism. But the important thing is to create a level playing field for political competition, which the Bayelsa example is a very good example of how not to practice democracy.
How not to practice democracy. Great landing point. Mr. Sobowale, you touched on this earlier about INEC potentially getting involved in local government elections. And of course, you made reference to their performance, which they haven't recovered. Also like to remind you, or remind us about the president making headlines last year for appointing top or APC loyalists as top INEC officials. When you factor all these all these precedents, and you look at the possibility of INEC, conducting local government elections, do the potential benefits, outweigh the risks?
It is to be an antithesis to political participation and political awareness. See, that was I said, to be contrary to what we have been saying on practicing our federalism and decentralizing power. You get me now? You want the local government to be independent of state government, to have autonomy, so they will know the needs of their people. That's the essence of having local government, getting to the grassroots and let people participate. Let people be aware of their political needs and have the means to articulate and select people who will represent them and take care of their welfare. That is democracy. If that is truncated, democracy is no longer attractive. That invariably is what leads to hostility. And when people get enchanted with political, democratic leaders, they literally call on the military to come in. So, I've always said it here, the antidote, the good panacea, you get me, against coups, is for political leaders to allow participation in the political process so that people can select people of their choice in clean, fair elections. Then democracy will thrive. If you are confident that you have put people there and they are delivering, they are performing, you can always re-elect them or send them away if they don't perform well at the polls. But we are almost 100 years away from that now. One day we'll get there.
Surely one day we'll get there. And you know, when you speak to politicians, they'll always tell you that politics is local and, you know, it doesn't get more local than the local government areas. How do we break this deadlock for the local government areas to be able to get autonomy? Is there any way? Because it has to go through a certain process, but the states are not going to allow them to have that room. Does it need to come from the top, as has been attempted in the past, or how can we, you know, craft a solution for the deadlock?
The laws establishing the local governments are there. Get me? But people are supplanting it. Get me? Because the local governments are always in the pocket of the governors. They go to Abuja, collect their allocation, and give them whatever they want to give them. Like the man in Oyo State that I mentioned, he said people are going to vote for APC this time in the PDP dominated because the roads are bad. You get me? I'm sure most people can say that of many states in Nigeria who are in the opposition. That should galvanize people to campaign so that they do not vote people who give them dilapidated roads and hospitals that don't work and they provide security. If those things are allowed to thrive, and you see, somebody said at a discussion last night that Nigerians are a lazy lot. We don't fight docile, that was the word. Until Nigerians wake up from their slumber and fight for their rights, we should all be grumbling in darkness, literally.
Oh. I sure do hope that, you know, things can start to unfold in a more positive trajectory. Mr. Dayo, thank you so much for your analysis.